I'm still amazed, my mom is still amazed that you guys loved the Texas Declutter Season 1 so much that you requested a second season. So here we are. For this first episode, rarely do I ever get to go back to the homes that I've decluttered, and today I thought it would be fun to go through and kind of examine the state of things. If it's gotten out of control again, I know that there are problems that we need to fix and adjust in this season. They also did a lot of work after we left. I want to update you guys on some of the things that they've been doing, and then I will also want to check in with my mom and ask her what she's actually noticed, see if her mood has lifted. I want to see if she's using her craft room more. This season's going to be kind of loose in its structure because as we're going, I want to see in the moment what the best way is to help them. Maybe that's moving on to their garage, or maybe it's working on a different part of the house that's really going to change their daily life. That's all things that we're going to uncover as we continue decluttering their house. But this series is not going to be anywhere as stressful as our last series. This should be a really fun season. I hope you guys love it. Make sure that you're subscribed if you aren't already, and let's go check in with my mom. And I also promise you that there's going to be much better lighting this series because the ceiling light did get fixed in the depression room, which is no longer the depression room, so we should probably just start there first. So this is how we left the craft room / depression room in the first season. The light was still broken, so it was still incredibly dark. We left all of this stuff on the shelves because we didn't have time to get to it. But while we've been away, my parents have been working on patching the walls, painting all of them, which she said is much harder to do when you don't have Jackson helping. They worked on clearing off these shelves and kind of setting up a better system that would work for them. And then they also eliminated that large bookshelf with all of the records on it. So today, this is where we are starting with the craft room. We do have our work cut out for us this season, but they did replace the ceiling light, so it's going to be so much brighter in here and easier for working. And I did recommend that they switch from the black ceiling fan to the white one so that it's less noticeable, and I think it looks so good in here. My mom and I are having a disagreement about this, so we will work on this area.
April.
We'll come back to this. But this looks so much better and it flows throughout the whole house. I think it would be fun if we added your fabric. We could add it to the shelves and it would be fun and vibrant. And you could see it. It would just be so cute in like a real craft room. So that's my goal for this. I want to curate this a little bit more and declutter and kind of reposition some of the things. Have you been using your bike more?
No, I've been doing house aerobics.
Okay, these are my things that my mom's been working on tailoring for me, which leads me to your sewing machine.
Yay!
You've been using this a lot, haven't you?
A whole lot, and
She's been doing a lot of projects, but right now she's making a little dress. She said that she's done about 20 projects since I left, so I feel like that's a victory, and now it is feeling more like a craft room. Let me show you some of the things that maybe we don't want to show you. We'd like to pretend that we got through, but we didn't. So these are the papers that we weren't able to declutter in the last season. This, though, is actually paint because they've been working on painting the outside of their house and it's too hot to leave it outside right now. So this is just temporarily here, but this is just a pile of all those things that you would rather ignore. But in this series, we are going to make sure that we leave with all of these things finally decluttered. This is more shredding, and most of that's just empty boxes. These were CDs from the big shelf that was here. Oh, this is really fun. She put her mirror up here. Yesterday we used it so that we could like adjust the pans and stuff in the mirror. It was really helpful. And it also helps just to expand the light in the space. I think it's really good.
And the bookcase was right there, and when you came in, it just blocked your vision. So
it did,
I learned
yeah.
that if you can put your bigger things farther back or have a central, really pretty beach picture to look at when you walk in the room.
I'm gonna edit out that part. Just kidding. No, it just feels so much more open and brighter in here. This is my luggage back here, and then this I think has a lot of empties, so we're gonna try and go through this. They moved the records from the shelf that was right here. It's not too different from how we left it, but I would like to pull out a lot of her fabric and get it organized. Yeah, move it over here.
I've jumbled it trying to find stuff.
Yeah, it's too hard to get in and out of. So I think here, if it's out, you're a very visual person. If it's out, you're going to be inspired to make something with it. Yeah. Or if you see it all the time, you're like, I really don't like that fabric. I'm going to give it to a friend or something. So we're going to go through it and declutter it, because on the first pass of decluttering, we don't have a lot of time for all that tedious stuff all the time. So we're going to do more of the tedious decluttering in the craft room this season and work on reorganizing everything and like getting her extremely organized in this space. I would like to, in this season, make it more of a craft room, maybe reposition some things.
You're than that.
Change just a few things here and there, but really just make it better and leave this room as like 100% a craft room. This is where we started with the guest room, and we worked really hard in the first season to transform it into a beautiful beach-inspired guest room that is in honor of my Nana. I think this room turned out so well, but as we go through this declutter, not only do I want to show you the things that have changed, I also want to point out the things that maybe we didn't like whenever we started it. Like, for example, this trim back here. As we were painting it, like after the first coat dried, we're like, that looks a little bit flat, but we just had no time to change anything in that moment. I think once we change the white trim, it's going to just pop so much more. The white trim's necessary, right?
Very first time that I laid here and saw it, I was like, that's kind of bland.
Yeah. Mom, why did you hang this picture so low?
I was trying to be like April. While we were talking about this wall, this has been the best thing because it's set up convenient. Well,
sorry, my shoes.
So this is the best thing because I can just run in here and do it.
And remember, this was in the depression room, like buried. Like you couldn't craft on it.
At the table.
And when you sew, you need a large surface like this.
And also, I've got my plugs over here, so I've got room. I can put the ironing board, and I have a little small one. I can even put it on top of here. And
that's awesome. And she's been teaching one of the girls down the street how to sew, and they've had a lot of fun. She's been able to use her space, and this really comes in handy when you're doing something like that. So my plans for this area is we need something more here, and because you kept decluttering after I left, like the other areas of the house, she uncovered this beautiful artwork. It was yours from
early high school.
From early high school that she had. It's aged over time. I love it, and I think it's gonna look so good right here, especially with the seagulls. I kind of want to move these pictures, and I'm thinking maybe we'll put them over here. I'm gonna add just a little bit more because it does feel kind of bare. My mom also wants you guys to know that during the time that we've between season 1 and season 2 now, she also had COVID. She hurt her back, so she hasn't had all of the free time in the world to just like keep going on projects. And she also decided that she doesn't want to stay retired, and now she's teaching nursing, so she's also been very busy. I think you're being harder on yourself. I think you've done a lot of projects.
And I think that's part of getting rid of the shame of that room getting so bad, because I didn't want it like that, but I was being a caregiver and would rather be outside.
Oh yeah,
inside.
Actually, I'll insert footage right now because they've also been painting the outside of their house for a few weeks, and they've been doing a lot of landscaping work. So I'll show you just a little baby clip of their courtyard right now. Okay, I'm gonna open it.
It's okay.
This one has gotten a little bit crazier. This was stuff from the office shelves that they took down that we didn't touch while we were here. So they had to put it somewhere, so they put it here so that they could paint. I think she said that we want to go through the blankets and stuff again. So we're gonna work on all of this soon. This is where we started in the bathroom in the first season of our Texas Declutter. I love the end result. The bathroom is mostly the same. The flooring did not get done. She started doing it, but she hurt her back, so she had to stop. So we're gonna try and finish that this season for her. Yeah, she loves the new rug in here. The shower curtain, how do you feel? Because I know how I felt then versus now. Like when I first got here for the first season, it felt very different. And now it feels like light and airy. It's more of like a spa experience when you're in there. Yeah. So much better.
And I love these hanging heavier, I don't know, the cotton.
We got these towels at Target. She's been talking about today how much she loves the hooks, and I totally agree. I think towel bars just most of the time don't work.
Well, it
I
helps
think
the
this
towels
is easy.
dry better.
Yep, they dry better. She loves this. I like the white tiles too. I think it's still bright and airy. It did get a little bit more cluttered, so I think we'll go through and work on this area, but I'm proud because it's better than it was. You wanted to mention something about the labels, right?
Afterwards, when you're doing things as fast as we did in just a couple of weeks, we're like, where did I organize that to? And so the labels really help, and because of my height, April put one up here, and we did go on a short trip, and I go, where did my travel bags go? And I remember, and I looked up, and there it was on the inside, because she's much taller. And so anyway, the labels really help, and I've tried very hard to put things back where they go, and that's really been helpful to me. I'm a learning to be organized person.
What I want to do this series is change up your oils, because this isn't working for you, and then this will free up this space so that we can kind of shuffle things around.
I don't really do my nails, and especially going back to work again, I really don't do that much.
So we can move that around.
Move that down.
She's been able to sit with us for a couple of months, and now we can really fine tune it for her because she's learned it a little bit better. I also wanted to say that one thing I like to mention to people is that once you get really organized, one of the benefits is that after you do your first declutter and organize, it takes a few months, but you start using what you have, and then these little pockets of stuff like lotion, it gets smaller because you're not double buying, because you can actually find it. So this is smaller and not as packed as it was the first time.
The neatest thing was that was the extras box, so it's nearly empty. And
now you know where all your extras are. You've been saying today.
Oh, yeah. And then also, I've used several almost gone bottles, and this is just really a handy way to keep them all together.
What is working for her is this bucket, because she can move it around and go do her makeup wherever she wants. But I see that the papers, you still have a lot of papers.
You have to go through those every now and then. And I have been through them, but only once with all this other stuff going on. But only once.
So we'll work on that. But at least they're contained, and they're usually, I mean, growing up, they were always on the counter. But now it's like, oh, they're a little pocket in there, and you don't have to see it when the door's closed. One thing that just got in the mail, this is exciting. These are for her essential oils. We're going to take the plastic off, but we're going to hang these in her craft room where they're visible and they just make more sense for her. So I think these were like $20. I will link them below on Amazon. This is going to be really exciting, but these just got here. So I also want to work this season on fine-tuning some of this stuff. She said it's all organized to her. I'm going to see if it's really organized or not.
Well, this is from, I wanted to sit down like Nana did and go through and see how much did I spend on reorganizing.
Okay. Maybe we'll make another pocket for your receipts and stuff somewhere else. But that could also be something in the craft room because we got extra space in there. So we'll work on fine-tuning that. How's this been? Oh, yeah, you got the mask.
I forgot I had it, so this probably needs to go up here. It's easier to get to. Nothing
in
else
our Miami declutter, we actually had a pink one of these that were all from the 90s.
I saw them and I go, yes, she has a pink one. I noticed.
Yep.
Thank you. Oh, and
but did you know that those came with lids? She had a lid in the...
No,
I was like,
mine
that's
didn't.
Shocking. Mine didn't either.
I didn't get that in West Texas. Thanks to that mom and that Miami mom-daughter team, for the accolades. I really appreciate it, because it's been a lot of work, y'all.
But now you feel more excited for the second season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've done so many crafts too, and brought a lot of joy and being able to share things.
Now you know the change that can come from it. You've experienced it, so now it's like, whoo, a little more motivating.
A little, but it's still hard to go through all that stuff. Some of that's in the corner.
It's a little the same. There's some structure, but we'll work on that. Don't worry. Going back to the living room, this gives me some feelings. This orange gives me a lot of feelings, and I'm so glad that we were able to brighten it up in here. For the most part, in the living room, nothing has really changed. I know some people were a little concerned about the paint. My cousin did come back. She is an expert trim painter. She doesn't even paint trim with tape. She's real good. She came and did all the trim for my parents. So see that white trim, just how crisp it is. Here's a good angle. You can see it just looks so much brighter. The hallway did get finished painting. We didn't do that whenever we left. That probably needs one more coat down there. And let me just explain to you, all these rugs are for him. He is so old, aren't you, buddy? This is Dirk. He is mostly blind now and deaf. He's to that point in his life where he falls a lot and he can't get back up. So having all these rugs for him to walk on prevents him from falling as much. So they won't always be here, but right now they're just trying to take care of this guy. But you can tell it's just so much brighter than all of the orange. So I love that. Also looking up, you can see those did get painted. We just ran out of time that day, so we didn't get to paint them. I did my best to try to eliminate as many things from the wall. There are more back on the wall, but it's not as bad as it was. You can't make people minimalist. So I'm not sure about the placement of that box. I'm gonna try and move it somewhere else that makes more sense. This wall has stayed the same. You can see that they leveled out all of it. This painting was, it broke while we were at the very end of our filming. We had like 30 minutes to get to the airport. So it's fixed now. And then they switched out a lot of these so that they're all black and white. Most of them are black and white. I think that works really well in here. They have told me that they love the gallery wall and that when people come in, it's the first thing they see. They ask questions about it and they really like it. So that was my point that I was trying to make in that living room episode, is that when you have stuff on all of the walls, it's overwhelming. Your brain doesn't know what you're supposed to look at because there's just so much. Your eyes are bouncing around. But when you put them all on this one wall, it's really like a showstopper. You're like, whoa, it's that much more powerful. I really didn't straighten for you guys. I wanted to just leave it as is to show you what it really looks like. This also is for her dog. You know, old dogs, you just have to take care of them. So she has this on there for them. I do think, you know, it's a lot, but he just needs this right now. Somebody was just sitting there. I could fluff this for you. I like that better turned backwards because I think there's a lot going on. They just added this. I think it came from somewhere else in the house. Other than that, it's all pretty much the same. This lamp she just happened to find one day, and I think it goes really well in here. The other one was tiny, if you remember it. It's actually that one right there. So it was really short and didn't let off enough light. Over here, you'll see this lamp they have had forever, since I was a kid. And now she got another one that's really turquoise. It gives it a lot of color. I like it. I think it goes really well with the kind of Southwest decor that they have. It appears everything else is here. There's a lot going on there, but again, my parents like more stuff than I like, but that's their taste, and I'm trying to help them, you know, have less so that's not overwhelming, but it still respects their design. I do like that they eliminated everything from the coffee table because there's a lot of little things inside, so I like that there's nothing on top. And then the closet, this closet in here is a little worse.
That's my out.
So this is her donation pile. I think this was too heavy with her back for her to pick up, so I'm going to take this to the car for her.
And grew.
Oh, it's been growing, which I love. What were you telling me that's not working up here?
Well, I didn't have a place to put the decorative things, but I was kind of putting it together to centralize it. But when it wasn't there, I would just pull that bag down. But I don't really like, I need something that I can see what's in there.
It's not winter, it's not time for this yet, but it will be soon. So we want to work on this. These I would like to put in the garage or somewhere else. And the oils back there, we're going to try and move those because they're getting blocked. And then this has pretty much stayed the same. This is so nice just being a guest here and knowing exactly where, knowing exactly where to grab a mug from. But for the series, I do want to go through and try and declutter a little bit more and really declutter this, because this is one of the things we didn't have a lot of time to go through last time. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, but my granddad made this from scratch for my parents, and they're not really ready to get rid of it right now. Last time we calmed it a little bit, so it's a lot better. It's also less dusty than it was last time, so I think that speaks to the fact that we got it decluttered. But I want to go through all of this, and we're gonna have a separate kitchen declutter video. And then, sorry, it's messy in here right now. We're also gonna go through all of the kitchen cabinets this time, and what I recommended to my mom as they update the house. The cabinets haven't been done in a long time, so I recommended to her that they do like a darker color, like a navy, which they already have in another bathroom here. I think that'll look really good with the tile. We're not going to be doing that in this series, but I like to just kind of give her some pointers as we go for what I think would look really good. And it'll kind of help balance the busyness of this tile. If this is darker, you know, one of the shades to kind of mimic the color in the tile. I think that'll really help. Just from being here before versus now, it's so much lighter in here. It makes me want to be in here more.
And it gives you more energy.
It does.
That creative part is growing. It's just made everything better.
I mean, in the time I've been here, you've already done like 5 sewing projects for me.
Yes.
Yeah, you feel that?
Thank you,
You're welcome. And you've been doing other projects in the house that I'm not going to show, but in the back part of the house, you guys have been decluttering more of that. What I like to tell people is that the first round of declutter is always the hardest, and you're gonna feel like you're not making a ton of progress, but it's because you're dealing with a lot of emotion and it's a lot harder to let go. But then you start to get into the groove and it's easier the second time and you let go more. Then maybe you're somebody who needs to go through it for a third and fourth time. It just gets easier and lighter every single time. So for this series we're going through, it's going to be our second round, which I really love because I think it's realistic for a lot of people. And you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to thank the audience for bringing my daughter back.
Did you write all of those comments, Mom? Was it you who wanted the second season? I think I was trying to figure this out. So welcome to season 2 of our Texas Declutter. See you next week. Hey, I think you're acting. I don't think you're as old as you'd make yourself out to be.